So it's been about a year since we last did a Q&A, and we thought we would do it again. We have over 100 questions. We're gonna try to get through as many as we can in as little time as possible. How did two of you meet and get into photography?
The internet.
Can you guys suggest a way on how to tell my mom that I want to quit school and start YouTubing for photography?
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
No.
Don't do that. First of all, I had a full-time job for the first 10 months of this channel, and I only left my job when it just made more sense to do the YouTube channel. Stay in school.
Yeah. What's your #1 tip for growing your Myspace profile?
A good profile song and custom CSS. Were you nervous about beginning your photography business, and how did you get your first photo gig?
Yes, and family friend. How do you build relationships with other photographers? Buy them coffee. How did you find your photography style?
Lots of trial and error. How is Carlton? He's good. How old were you when you picked up a camera and called yourselves photographers?
8 and then 25.
Let's say like 15 and 28.
At what age did you realize you wanted to make photography your career? 8 and then 25.
Probably 28.
If you had to be a villain for a day, who would you be?
When you first started out your channel, did you actively promote your content, or did you mostly rely on a combination of quality SEO, fire content, and YouTube gods? We submitted our videos at the beginning to a few photography blogs, and then we mostly just focused on creating good videos. Why do you guys like the head down pose and all the other unconventional poses? Are you guys inspired by Ryan Muirhead? If so, why?
I just don't like my face on camera, and I'm not very good at modeling, so.
It's a good way to hide the fact that you're not a model.
Yeah, and I love Ryan Muirhead. He's the only photographer who's ever made me cry.
Yeah,
from looking at his photos.
Yeah, he really evokes a lot of emotion from his subjects, so he's amazing. What are your opinions on square photos? Are there any advantages or disadvantages?
I think you do you, but you might regret that in the future if you don't have any photos that are.
Yeah, I find in general it's too restrictive for composition.
What are your settings to get those perfect bokeh portraits?
Wide aperture, so 1.2, 1.4, pretty much as wide as you can go, and some nice lights in the background always help.
How do you get sponsors? They get you. Can you tell us the process of creating a good video B-roll?
Good story,
Yeah.
and then focus on B-roll.
Story over gimmicks.
Yeah.
And then gimmicks.
What advice would you give a young aspiring photographer to start their career, help them be competitive in the workforce? Work harder than everyone else and be as creative as possible.
Yeah, stand out, don't follow trends. Could you share your thought process behind your short films, especially the narrated ones? They're phenomenal. Thank you, and for the most part, we just take things that I've already written and then we just create a video for it.
Which is the best budget-friendly camera for beginners? Your phone. What is the best, autofocus or manual focus for portrait photography?
We would highly suggest using the tool that's on your camera that is autofocus instead of trusting yourself to manually focus.
Oh, how did you think your life would be at this age when you were 18?
It was either like I was going to school for production, but I didn't really want to do that. I think I didn't think about the future.
I thought I was going to be in a band touring the world, so that didn't work out.
At 30?
Yeah.
Do you have plans to do a video about motion graphics?
We've done a few tutorials on motion graphics. We can do a few more. I mean, I love motion graphics.
Yeah, let us know in the comments if you want more.
Yeah. What are both of your pet peeves?
What sucks?
Chewing loudly. How do you guys maintain your theme on Instagram with a variety of different types of shooting?
I don't maintain a theme. I shoot whatever I want and post whatever I want, but I do use the same presets to keep the tones pretty consistent.
What is the meaning of life?
More followers.
How did you decide to go on YouTube?
We needed a place to put our office gifts.
What's your all-time favorite song? My favorite song is Hallelujah, written by Leonard Cohen, but my favorite version is the Jeff Buckley version.
And I like Chesterfield King by Jawbreaker, but covered by North Star.
What would you recommend photographers do who feel they've reached a plateau with their photography? Shoot something outside of what you usually shoot.
What's your opinion on going to school for photography? You do you, as always, but I would invest that money in equipment instead. Like if my kid wanted to go to school for photography, I would probably talk them out of it.
Out of all the professional photographers we know, I can only think of maybe 1 or 2 who went to school for it. Any tips or tricks as a photographer, cinematographer couple duo?
Learn each other's Enneagram numbers and then you can know how to work better together.
Tips on searching and choosing right music for right visual and emotional experience.
Just use Casey Neistat's music.
Try a bunch of different options and see which evokes the most emotion.
Okay, hi Mango Street, what's the best camera settings to use for concert photography?
We shoot pretty wide open, so f2 to f2.8. And then we use a semi-fast shutter, like probably faster than 1/250, and then ISO up as necessary. Just depends on your environment and the movement going on stage.
And the lighting, like if it's a good band, they probably have killer lighting.
What if the client asks raw and I don't give?
We don't give.
Do you have a daily routine?
Kind of. We always go to the grocery store. We always work out. We always edit all day long.
What are your sleeping habits like?
Terrible.
How long did it take you to build up your photography career starting from when you first learned photography?
I first learned to shoot manually in 2009, and then I didn't have a full wedding season until 2013.
4 years, 5 years.
Quick math.
What research would you recommend doing before buying new gear, and how can you tell whether the new gear you guys buy will work for you?
If you have access to it in your country, try renting or borrowing from a friend.
Or just watch a bunch of YouTube videos about it. How can I get money for photography equipment, props, and models?
Oh, bake sale,
Lemonade stand,
babysitting,
yard work.
selling presets.
What do you think of film photography? Do you guys ever shoot on film? Yeah, film's tight.
Favorite non-photography YouTubers? I like this question. Brandon Lee is our favorite filmmaker.
Yeah, and then for comedy, we like Cody Ko,
Yeah,
Elle
and
Mills.
Elle Mills.
Yeah, and Colin Samir.
Yeah.
Are you still nervous when you go shoot for a client?
Sometimes at the beginning of like wedding season, when I'm out of the swing of it, I get some nerves.
Yeah, or it depends on like the shoot, I guess. If it's a really big shoot for a really big client, we'd be maybe slightly more nervous.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. What lens would you recommend for wedding photography?
35mm all day.
Any favorite photographers?
Definitely. Ulas and Merv are my favorite photographers.
We mentioned them in our 10 photographers you should know about. My favorite is Christopher Haney, at Chris Creature on Instagram.
What are some habits that you dropped/started that most improved your well-being? Jogging,
Yeah, just exercising. It's great emotionally, physically, all around.
cutting out sugar, kind of.
How to get inspiration and make the most out of having no gear besides a camera and 2 lenses.
The less gear you have, the more creative you're forced to be, so that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Stop worrying about gear.
Yeah, just go out and shoot.
Yeah, shoot with what you have. What are your favorite TV shows and books?
Friday Night Lights,
Breaking Bad,
30 Rock,
The Office,
Community.
Parks and Rec.
You said Breaking Bad.
Oh, come on!
Okay, favorite books? Mine's Swimming Studies.
Swimming Studies is great. House on Mango Street, Catcher in the Rye.
I love Cannery Row is one of my favorites.
Do you mess around with the white balance when shooting?
For video, definitely. For photos, it doesn't super matter.
Okay, but if you were our moms, what is a rule you'd be strict on?
No Big Bang Theory.
How do you guys plan your videos?
Usually Daniel's working on finishing up our last video, and then I take a shower and come up with like 6 new ideas for more videos.
We come up with the ideas, go out and shoot it, and then start to edit, start to pull the selects, write a script for it, and record voiceover and polish it up. Advice for a beginner photographer in 1 sentence. It's go out and shoot.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Okay.
Just like get out there and shoot.
Yeah.
How do you make your photos stand out from the rest? By not super following trends.
And draw inspiration from things outside of photography or outside of the genre of photography.
Totally, yeah. That's how you can be a like leader in your craft.
How can I take photos in public without feeling self-conscious?
Shoot with a friend.
Yeah, and just stop caring about other people. Just do you.
Will I read more merch soon?
Sure, if you want. What's to like and hate about your relationship?
Oh, what I like is that, I mean, there's a lot of things I like, but one of my favorite things in terms of working together is how we're perfectly complementary. Like,
Rachel's more creative.
Daniel's like so good at executing anything, and I'm not. Yeah, and I always have a million ideas and I can't always execute them, but Daniel always needs ideas to execute.
Yeah.
We hate about our relationship? Absolutely nothing.
Perfect.
It's 100% great.
What's up with the Mango Street name? Is it a real street? Y'all just really into fruit, especially mangoes? Bananas are great.
Okay, let me answer each question. What's up with the Mango Street name? We answered this in our first
Q&A.
Yeah. It's based off the book, The House on Mango Street. We are really into fruit. What were potential alternative names for your brand of emo photography?
What's emo photography?
I don't know what emo photography is. American football. That's stupid.
What's your favorite genre of photography?
Emo photography.
How old are both of you?
Don't worry about it. In our 20s,
How can I create a good film vintage look for photos?
you can follow our tutorial where we talk about that.
What is the best editing software for beginners? For photos, Lightroom. For video, doesn't matter, they're all pretty similar. All-time favorite lens?
35mm all day. Favorite episode of Parks and Rec?
Don't fly away. Where's the love? Okay, all right, so that one is dead. We know that.
Do you enjoy the taking photos part of what you do or the making short films part more? What's your favorite movie?
Good questions. What do you enjoy more?
I think it depends. Sometimes I'm in a photo mood and sometimes I don't want to take photos and I just kind of want to shoot video.
I feel like I'm more creatively satisfied when we do our short films to things that I write. What's your favorite movie?
Good Will Hunting.
Well, I got a number. How do you like them apples?
Mine's High Fidelity.
Top 5 things I miss about Laura. 1, sense of humor. Very dry, but it can also be warm and forgiving.
What would you be doing if you weren't photographers? I was a video editor and then I worked as a motion graphics artist, so I'd probably still be doing something along those lines.
Hopefully writing.
What was your first camera? Can you show a picture you took with it?
Nikon D50. And no, I'll show one here maybe.
I think my first camera was a Nikon Coolpix. I don't know, or like a Canon PowerShot or something. I don't think I have any photos I shot on that.
Were you heavily influenced by Ashton Kutcher?
Cool Pix S60 is touchscreen.
Did you go to college? What did you study?
I went to Purdue. I studied English literature.
I went to Full Sail and I studied audio engineering. Do you prefer film or digital?
I prefer looking at film, but shooting digital is easier for me. I'm more comfortable with it.
Yeah, shooting digital is easier for our workflow. Street photography seems really interesting to me, but I've got social anxiety. And
bring a buddy or try not to care what.
yeah, when we've done the shooting with strangers, we have Jessica and usually one other person, and like having 4 people, it's like way more comfortable than going out by yourself. Have you considered switching to the Sony a7 III?
No. As a beginner photographer, I struggle to find meaning for my photographs. I'd like to move on from basically just taking snapshots. Yeah, so drawing inspiration from other things, like I love certain music or movies or books, and then using that inspiration to tell a story through a photo is a better way to approach photography than just going out and simply snapping a photo.
Yeah, having intention behind your shoots, like set something up based off something that inspires you. Tips for food photography.
You can watch.
Just point.
Okay, ready?
Just go. What makes a good photographer a great one?
I think photographers who have a purpose when they shoot and make you feel something when you look at their images are better than photographers who are just shooting what's trendy or popular.
In your opinion, what movies has the best cinematography? I really like Fight Club cinematography.
I love Fight Club too. I love all Wes Anderson movies.
Tell us a fun fact about yourselves.
I don't know what Whirly Ball is.
I know all the lyrics to Summer Girls by LFO.
The great Larry Bird, Jersey 33.
Could you please show us one of your first photographs you were making way back in the days as amateurs? Sure, I'll show you my first Instagram post. This is a picture of my salad with an Instagram filter on it. Meat-free meat. They sell it at Whole Foods.
So this is from 2011.
And it has a border around it, which is nice.
Oh my gosh. That's frozen yogurt, and it's a fruit and candy combination.
And you got like 9 more likes than mine got. How can I be inspired by someone's style without completely copying them? I feel like this is something I struggle with as a beginner. When you're shooting, don't straight up copy the photo. Like kind of the day of the shoot, kind of look at all the inspiration and then put it away. And then you'll be less likely to just straight rip off that person and be better able to like put your own twist on it.
How do you see yourself in 20 years?
So old. Almost. Oh, so old.
I don't like to think that far ahead. Any movie recommendations?
Yeah, A Ghost Story, High Fidelity, You've Got Mail.
What's your favorite song, album, and artist of this month? After the Party by Menzingers is my favorite song lately. Favorite album is Brian Fallon's Sleepwalkers.
Same. And artist is Brian Fallon, Tiny Moving Parts.
What's your advice for someone working a day job and pursuing a photography career on the side? I did that for years when I shot weddings with you, and you did that when you...
Yeah, I had like 3 jobs at one point.
It's just make the most of your time off, like sacrifice your weekends or whatever days off you have of the week to focus on what you're really passionate about. What made you guys continue even with challenges in your way? I think wanting it bad enough. Giving away all your knowledge for free, has it brought you valuable clients? And how do you find time to do your amazing videos?
So giving away all of our knowledge for free has brought us sponsored videos, which pays us. But also like when we book weddings now, I like sending them a link to our YouTube channel just so that people can know that we're actually, we know what we're doing. We have some authority on the subject of photography and filmmaking.
Do you have any plans to come to Chicago, make any videos here, if so? We lived in Chicago for several years. Rachel grew up right outside of it, so we come back often, but we usually just want to visit family.
Yeah, I always want to go back, especially in the summer, because Chicago is the best in the summer. But we don't have plans to come back before the fall.
What photography trend do you guys hate?
So many. I don't like things that I see a million times.
Yeah.
I like things that are striking and different and bring more inspiration.
I think like, I hate bad editing. What's the best way to transfer photos from cameras to iPhones without quality deterioration?
You can just watch our video on that.
What is your wildest dream or goal with photography?
Mine was probably shooting my favorite artist. But with filmmaking, it's doing a music video, and specifically for Brian Fallon. I'd
love to do a music video, documentary, or some sort of mini-series.
Documentary, yeah.
Do your ideas come to you on the spot, or do you think about each shot before the shoot?
It depends. Usually going into shoots, especially important ones, I'll have shots like sketched out. But in the moment, if there's good light, and especially if you're collaborating with a good model, yeah, new stuff happens on the spot. So both.
I work better on the spot, I would say, than planning too much ahead of time. More into fashion photography, do you recommend getting 24mm 2.8 P.S. not a full frame camera owner. Definitely.
Yeah, we love 35, especially for fashion.
So you
24 even for fashion is great.
You get 16 if you're on a crop sensor. 16 would be nice, 16 to 35 range.
Yeah.
Rather than the 24 to 70, any other recommendations of zoom lens for portraits and street?
I think that's a good zoom lens for street. I always just love the wider, so like the 16 to 35 is good because it forces you to get really close to your subjects, which creates a more intimate feeling.
Yeah, and I think zoom lenses can kind of be a crutch sometimes when you can just like, when you should be moving your position, you just zoom in instead.
Yeah.
So sometimes I think it's better to just shoot primes. Can you guys give us some advice about how we could attract clients?
We actually made a whole video on this and it's filled with super juicy tips and not a lot of people watched it. And I was actually like kind of nervous when we put it out that we gave away too much info. And so I'm kind of glad that not a lot of people have watched it, but you can go watch it if you want.
Hug Carlton for me. That's from Loana. What's your wake up routine? From Aaron Bean.
Our pal. Mine is Carlton wakes me up at like 6. I take him outside and do a French lesson while I'm taking him out. We come back like an hour later and like have to tiptoe around, make breakfast.
I wake up at like 8.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes we'll wake up, we'll go do a spin class or a HIIT
true.
class, eat breakfast, drink coffee, and then get into the work for the day.
Yeah.
What are some key aspects to making your photos feel timeless?
I love this question because I think it's super important. So I would say no logos. Maybe not necessarily showing faces, keeping people more mysterious.
And even like neutral dress,
Yeah.
like kind of neutral colors.
Yeah, things that aren't very like exclusive to a certain time period.
And then obviously like editing, where it's
Closer to film.
closer to film because film looks pretty timeless.
Yeah.
How long have you two worked together and what are the challenges you face sometimes? Probably like 6 years.
I'm really bad at communicating.
Yeah, Rachel has a lot of ideas in her head that she has all planned out and then I don't necessarily know what those ideas are, you know, so it's like.
Yeah, but you're like pretty good at like knowing what I'm talking about, whatever.
How much does Carlton weigh?
He weighs like.
Pros and cons, Chicago versus LA for general life and for photography.
I love this question.
So Chicago's an awesome city, but outside the city, there's like nothing. It's very boring Midwesty.
Yeah, and Chicago in the summer is the best. LA in the summer is like pretty gloomy.
I'd say Chicago, just the winter's way too long, so it's cold for so long.
And I'd say the people are different. Chicago is more of like a community, tight-knit city. And then LA, it's kind of like every man for himself.
Everyone just does their own thing, keeps themselves out in LA, it feels like.
Yeah, and I like both. Yeah, they're both amazing cities.
When traveling to a new location you have never visited, what are your go-to resources to find some sweet locations?
Instagram, like locations, but also I like waking up early in the morning and like jogging it because then you get the more like tactile feel for the city.
I got a job as a fashion photographer and I got a budget of $1,000 to $1,500. What camera should I buy for this project?
Definitely rent.
Yeah, definitely rent a camera or borrow one if you can for a project. Don't just buy a camera for one project. That's what we recommend.
Yeah.
Could you do photo challenges with mobile cameras?
Yeah. We did that.
What question have you wanted to be asked but have never been asked? What camera should a beginner get? How can you manage to post a video every week? Has it become your full-time job? Yes. What's the funniest thing Carlton has ever done? How many gifts of The Office do you have saved on your Mac?
9,986,000.